Big news! The government just released the detailed information about the first-time home buyers incentive. Do you know the detail about it and how it impacts you and your client? If not, let's watch my video and I will give you a detailed explanation about it. So thank you for tuning into my channel. My channel is all about helping new mortgage agents making more money and faster. So today we are going to go pretty technical about the new first-time home buyers incentive plan and the detail about it. Whether is it good for you and your client, or is it not as good as they said it is? Okay, so let's look at the screen and I have some very detailed calculation about it. So here we go. Today we are going to talk about the first-time home buyers incentive that just got the fresh news from the government about all the detail about it. So let me give you the brief summary of what it is. Okay, so it is going to give you, well, let's see. So the government is aiming to reduce your monthly mortgage payment for the first-time buyer without increasing their down payment. And you will see how it goes when we do the math, okay? So some of the detail about it is you can pay back anytime, okay? There is a maximum of 5% incentive. Well, there's a 5% incentive of any resale home, and you can choose 5 or 10% incentive for brand new home. So the maximum house price is around $560,000. So good luck in finding, a property in GTA or GVA, Vancouver or Toronto, because that's not a lot of money in these two areas. But let's continue on. So the maximum family income must be less than around $120,000. Now, the program will launch September 2nd, 2019, and the first closing on November 1st, 2019. And I quote Minister of Finance Bill Monroe saying that thanks to the mortgage payments that are more affordable, many families will have hundreds of dollars each month in their pocket, money to spend on things like healthy food, sport activities, and even saving for future. So that's what he say. Is it really doing that? We'll see, okay? Some of the critics is saying that it is tough for buyers to get a house in GTA and GVA, which the first-time home buyers need the most support, which I think is true. Now, there's one more thing that it didn't say on here, and it is that when you pay back the first-time home buyers incentive, either by fully repaying it or you by selling a house, which most likely would be the case, it will fluctuate with the house prices. So say that you buy a house for $500,000 and it increased by 10% when you sell your house. So you sell at $550,000, you actually, instead of paying, say you borrow 10% from them. So at the beginning, instead of you borrow $50,000 because you originally borrow $500,000, 10%, right? So equals $50,000. So now when you sell, your house is $50,000, right? So now when you sell $550,000, so you actually have to repay $55,000. Okay, so that's what I mean when you repay the first-time home buyers incentive. The incentive actually fluctuate with the house price. Eventually, the government is taking their share of the gain too. So instead of just repaying $50,000 of that incentive, you actually have to pay the gain of that too. Okay, so that's how it is. So everything looks a little bit fuzzy after you reading all this, because how does it affect me and my client? And so I'm going to show you in detail with a few examples, and you will see. Okay, so I did actually spend a lot of time doing this table, and it looks pretty complex, so I have to kind of explain to you what all this numbers is doing. So for example, we buy a house of $200,000. Okay, so without all this incentive, what it does before is $200,000 house price, 5% down payment, which is $10,000. So effectively, you're borrowing the mortgage $190,000. CMHC insurance at 95% loan to value is 4% of the mortgage price, which is $7,600, which is a lot of money. If you want to know the true cost of the CMHC cost, the insurance cost, I have another video which I should have a link right there, and you can check it out. It's pretty informative. So the total house mortgage is $197,600. Okay, so assuming a 25 years amortization, 3.09% interest, your monthly payment is $944. Okay, so that's that. Now, say that now that you buy a brand new house, new build, so you are eligible for 10% of the incentive. Let's see how the calculation change. Same thing, $200,000 property, down payment now became $30,000, which is 5%, $10,000 of your own money, plus $20,000, which is 10% of the incentive, total $30,000. Your mortgage is $170,000. The cost of insurance, because now you have 15% down payment, cost of mortgage insurance is only 2.8% of the mortgage, which is $4,760. And just in case you want to see, wow, how come this is 4 and this is 2.8, you can actually check it out. This is the CMHC homepage. You can Google CMHC and you can see this. Come to this page, and I will have a link in my description so that you don't have to Google it if you don't want to. So remember I told you 95% the mortgage insurance cost is 4% of the mortgage amount, and 85%, because now you have, instead of 5% down payment, you have 15 now, because you have 10 from the government, so the insurance premium is 2.8. okay, so this is where I find this calculation. Okay, so this is 2.8%. so total mortgage amount $174,760. Monthly payment, again based on 25 years amortization, 3.09%. Interest rate is $635.14. So monthly saving is 109.14. Does Mr. Bill Monroe hit it correctly? Yes. Well, you actually save some monthly payment, so you can actually spend more money on healthy food, sport activities for kids, and save for future. That is correct. Okay, I would have to agree with that. And annual saving is just this one. So you say, wow, this is amazing. This is 0 interest. You know, you don't pay interest on it. So 0 interest loan, everybody should get it. This is amazing. Is it true? Well, I wouldn't say so. So let's look at the true cost of this first-time home buyer incentive. Okay, so I have example of 1, 2, or 3 years after, and you will see. Okay, so after 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years, this is the ending principal balance. So say that after a year, your $200,000, well, your 197,600 original mortgage became 192,269, and after 3 years, it became this. Okay, so wow, very technical today. My tongues are twisting now, crazy. Okay, so not only that, the principal amount it matters to you, because now every month you pay less amount of money, so the monthly payment also matters to you. So without the first-time home buyers incentive program, you are paying $944 per month. So after the first year, this is how much you pay, the second year and the third year. So compare this with this side of the table. Your mortgage, starting mortgage is $174,760, right? After 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years, this is how much is left, right? So the total payment of the 3 years is this. So this is the end, right? You pay less and you have a smaller amount of mortgage. That's good. So this is how much you save, and this saving is the difference between these two payments minus plus the difference between these two, because you have a less amount of mortgage and you pay less. So basically, say for example this one, almost $4,000 you pay less in 3 years, and then you have about $20,000 less mortgage, right? So this is how much you save. This is how I calculate this. Okay, in 3 years you save $24,859.95, and this is saving for 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years. Now, what these two numbers is the difference between each year. As you can see, the first and the second year difference is 72, and the difference between the second year and the third year, your saving is actually decreasing it to $653.69. So as you can see, the longer you hold this, the saving is, less and less each year. So what does it mean? Everything looks so good right now. You are saving money, you are paying less per month, but you are having a smaller amount of mortgage at the end of 3 years. What's wrong with it? Everything looks so good until you have to look at the money you have to pay back when you sell. Okay, when the money you have to pay back when you sell, because that is where the problem starts to occur. Okay, the problem starts when you sell. So let's see. Assuming that you sell, I have this table. Assuming that you sell after 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years. And this is the annual growth rate of the Toronto market, the GTA. So 12.4, 11.2, and 3.1. Well, where do I get all this growth rate from? Like 12.4% annual growth rate on the market. This seems pretty high. Like, do I hypothetically make that up? No. This is based on statistics from here. Canadian Real Estate Association. All this you can go on. I will put a link there on the description. You can come here and you can check it out yourself. So I have 12.1 is 10 years growth rate. So May 2019 and May 2009. So basically that's it's, you know, it's too long. Anyway, so it is from that I come here and do all the statistic calculation, and I come up with the growth rate for 10 years. This one is the growth rate for last 5 years. So if you buy a house in 2015 and now 2019, even though 2017 to 2018 you're dropping the price, house price drop a lot, still average out you still make 11.2% per year in the last 5 years. Okay, and just look at last 1 year. So I used the stat from May 2018 to May 2019. You still make 3.1%. Okay, so what that means is for your $200,000 house, if you sell after 1 year, 12.4%, this is how much you will sell it at. This is after 2 years, and this is after 3 years. This is after 1 year, 2 years, and 3 years at 11.2%, and this is how much you sell when it is 3.1%. Pretty intuitive, right? So how much you have to pay back the government? Remember, at the very beginning, we borrowed 10% of their money. 10%, 20,000, right? So you have to pay them back 10% of your selling price. So I summarize it here, 22,480 and all that, right? So I just, you know, copy and paste this number. Remember, this number is the saving that you get. I just copy and paste it here, and you will see. Does it make sense to go into this saving? Well, depends on how much is the growth rate and how long you're going to hold it. Basically, if the growth rate is 12.4%, it makes sense because you are saving $23,000 and you only pay back $22,000. Yeah, it makes sense. But after 2 years or 3 years, it basically you save yourself $25,000, but you have to pay them back $28,000. So it doesn't make sense to me. And same with 11%, growth rate, and 3.1%. Yeah, it still makes sense, right? So I can do more years, but the trend is the longer you hold a house, the more it doesn't look like it is a good incentive. So the incentive is only good for you to keep for a short period of time, because it actually costs you lots of more money to jump into this incentive plan than just go with a normal regular mortgage without taking their mortgage their incentive. Okay, as you can see, the incentive, the growth of the incentive is the saving is less and less, as I show you up here. It is, you know, this is the saving is the growth of the saving is 672 and this one is 653. So basically, the longer you hold, the saving is less and less attractive. Okay, so that's what I want to show you, because at the very beginning of the presentation, everything seems quite common sense to jump into this first-time home buyers incentive, because come on, it's 0% interest, is, you know, every month you are making smaller amount of payment, and after 1, 2, or 3 years the mortgage amount is smaller. So it looks like it is a no-brainer. Everyone should jump into this first-time home buyers incentive plan if you qualify, right? But then obviously, if you look at the detail, then it may not make as much sense. Okay, so I just want to highlight to you that, because my intuitive to me is it may not actually make sense, and then after I do the math, which I spent quite a lot of time doing it, then, you know, the conclusion is, yeah, it may not make sense for you to jump into this incentive, especially if you want to hold it for a long time. However, I still want to point out that, you know, if you do not have the down payment, and it does make it easier for you to qualify for the mortgage because of the lower amount. So if it is the incentive is the break or make the deal case, then yeah, I'd rather you jump in and buy the house first and try to repay the incentive portion, you know, when you have the money. But if you either way can buy the house, you may not want to jump into this first-time home buyers incentive plan. That's the conclusion that I have. Okay, so I hope you learned something. I hope you still, you know, watch until this late, because this is the end of the video, and you know, this video this time is quite technical, quite boring. I would say I try to make it as fun as possible, but you know, at the end of the day, this is a lot of numbers. I did try to rush through it a little bit. My tongue is twisting and all that stuff. It's not a fun topic to talk about, but this is the most timely topic. This is the topic that your client will be talking about in the near future, and if they know more than you do, you know what? Then you're not the expert in the market, so you must know about it. You must know more than them, and I bet if you watch this video until now, I bet you know more than your client, because they probably won't do all the calculation as detailed as I do. Okay, now I hope you like this video. If you do, again, press the subscribe button. I'm at 83 subscribers right now. I do want to hit 100, at least 100 before the end of the year. I really want to hit 100 in the next 1 or 2 months. I am only like 17 away. It is a doable goal. Let's do that. 100 subscribers at the end of the year or in the next few months. Subscription, by the way, is free of charge, no cost to you. Okay, So yeah, let's do that. Let's help me out. If you have any comments, I appreciate. I know a lot of you comes from my YouTube, my Facebook page, LinkedIn page and all that, but I prefer if you have any comment it in the YouTube section. That helps me a lot too, okay? So until next time, this is Calvin, Professor C, and stay tuned for the next video next week.